so that you can get the idea, and again you can set the reminder also, right? In mostly cases, link will not be changed, link will be the same, right? So today I will cover, right, foundry shop theory, right? And in next class I will show the video, right? And after that you have to write the write up, right, in the practical file, and you have to submit in the next week, right? Next to next week, right, after completion of your practical.
सर पहले ही बहुत सारी फाइल है।
Yes,
सर 2 फाइल है पहले से ही।
पहले से ही फाइल
2 फाइल बनानी है पहले ही।
अच्छा फाइल बना लिया है, वेरी गुड। तो कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, राइट? एक ही फाइल में सारे पांचों लैब लिखनी है आपको, right? Right. So it's a 8-5, right? I will start your PPT whenever students came, right? I will admit that one, right? It's not coming, not they are coming, right? So now I will show you the PPT. Right. So all you are getting on your screen. Yes, all of you are getting on the screen.
यस सर।
Yes, sir.
यस सर।
Yes, sir.
So the objective of the foundry lab is to study the different foundry tools and making a green sand mold, right, of a given pattern, right? Pulley of screw jack body, right? Or we can take another pattern, right? And it's casting. So, so 2-3 words are different, right? Foundry tools, right? So these are hand tools, right? And green sand. So we'll see different types of sand. Mold is nothing but your cavity, right? And pattern is nothing but the replica of your original product, right? It has some allowances, right? But it is a replica of your mold. Mold is nothing but cavity of your original product, right? So you have to write this one, right, as your objective. After that, introduction, right? In introduction, it is a lengthier one, right? So you have to write this one, right? So in introduction, we will see what is casting process, melting furnace. There are so many melting furnaces, but as far as your lab is concerned, we will see induction furnace, right? And third one is a pattern, right? So what is pattern? What are the different types of patterns, right? What are the allowances we have to add in the pattern, right? So that we will see in the pattern section, right? Next one is the sand, right, and their properties. So the sand, why we are using sand, what are the different types of sands, right? As far as your lab is concerned, we are dealing with only green sand, right? So why it is called green sand? That we will see their properties, right, of the sand, right? So that we will see in the fourth section. Now fifth section is mold preparation with pattern and different tools, right? So how to prepare a mold, right? How to prepare a cavity, right? With the help of your pattern and different tools and sand, right? Mold is made up from the sand with the help of your pattern and other hand tools, right? This is the fifth point. Sixth point is melting and pouring of metal and solidification. Right? So this melting furnace is used, right, for melting. So we are using induction furnace for the melting. Then we have to pour in the cavities, and you have to allow the allow that some time for solidification.
Sir,
Right. So after that we have to
excuse me,
machine it.
sir.
Yes.
Do we usually do melting and pouring of metals in the lab?
In the practical lab,
Yes,
induction
sir.
furnace is there in our DTU lab, right? DTU workshop lab. So we have to melt it, right? And then you
Hmm.
have to pour it.
Oh, so
Right.
students do that.
I will show you the videos, right? I
Yes,
will
sir.
show
Thank
you
you.
the video how to melt it and how to pour it. Right. So this is virtually one, right? And as far as your practical file is concerned, you have to just write how to means how to you have to indicate the induction furnace, and you are getting the melting, right? And how to
Yes.
pour it.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So after that, machining is there. Generally, machining is done in another lab, right? So get the final product. So our objective is that get the cast product on the foundry lab. So after introduction, I will give you the process to make the mold, right? Make the mold, and after that you have to write the as a result, right? So that you are done casting virtually, and you have got the cast product, right? That I am letting to you how to write, means result you have to write on your own. Right? So first we'll see the introduction part. That what is a casting process? So casting is a manufacturing process. Manufacture of a part by heating a metal or alloy, right, above its melting point temperature, and pouring the liquid metal or alloy in a cavity approximately of same shape. Right. So there is a word approximately of same shape. That means you have to add the allowances, right? Approximately of same shape and size as that part is called casting process, or simply casting. Right? So this is the generalized definition. After the liquid metal cools and solidifies, it acquires the shape and size of the cavity and resembles the finished product required. Right? You have to allow to solidify, right? And you will get the shape of the cavity. The section of the workshop where castings are made is called foundry shop. So foundry shop means you are getting the casting cast the product by casting process. This is about the casting process, and I have already shown you this, right, diagram, right? You have to draw these process steps, right, in your file, right? I have already explained it. So if you see, melting of metal and preparation of your mold, right? These two process can be parallel one, right? So depends on your time calculations, you can do these two process parallelly, and you can pour the molten metal in the mold, right? So the MOLD, right? You can see the word MOLD or MOULD. Both words are same. MOLD is used in US industry. MOULD is made in is used in UK industries, right? So in India, generally they are using MOULD, right? So this uh, diagram I have taken from the Kalpak Jain book, right?
एक्सक्यूज मी सर।
Yes.
सर कुछ बच्चे लेट हो गए हैं सर, वो एंट्री मांग रहे हैं सर,
Entry
एक बारी देख लेते सर।
nobody. So induction furnace, right? So one video is there, right? Whenever you are boring, right? You feel bored. I will show you the induction furnace, right? So as far as your this is concerned, right? Principle is concerned, right? Some coils will be there, right? And you have to heat it, and that EMF will get generated, right? And then heating will be there, right? And so that you can use as a, right, heating furnace, and you can pour in the mold, right? So otherwise I will, let's show you some. This link is not opening. I will show the, whenever you feel bored, right? You this. So next is pattern material, right? Right. So what is pattern? Pattern is just a replica of your, right? Replica of your final product, right? So pattern material may be made of wood, right? Your metals, right? Right. POP is there, right? Plaster of Paris, right?
सर
So these are the
सर
options
फिफ्थ
available
स्लाइड
for
छूट
the
गई।
pattern material. Yes.
Sir, you missed some slides. Number 5 and number 4, I think. Number 5.
Number 5. Okay. Ah. So pattern is the replica of casting required. Yes. It is similar in shape and type of the final product, but not exactly.
सर आवाज समझ नहीं आ रही।
Your voice is not clear.
My voice is not clear. It is full one. Right. We'll go. Turn on caption. So pattern, right? Now I think it's coming on your screen, right? And I'm audible.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
यस सर।
So patterns
sir.
are replica of
Yes, sir.
casting required. Yes. Hello. आवाज आ रही है?
Yes, sir.
यस सर, यस सर।
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So third point is, usually the mold is prepared in wet sand, to which some binder is added to the mold to hold sand particles together. So while preparing the mold, you have to add some binder. The pattern is then withdrawn from inside the sand mold in such a manner that impression or cavity made in the mold is not damaged or broken in any way. Right? So you have to put the pattern in the sand and you have to remove the pattern. Right? So while removing that pattern, care should be taken. Right? So according to the pattern you have to choose. Right? So again the mold, right, sand particles should have some strength, right, cohesive forces should be there between the sand particles, right. So to have a binding capacity, right, binder is added in the sand, right. So finally molten metal is poured into the cavity and allowed to solidify and cool down to room temperature, right. This is the use of the pattern, right, how to use it, right. And next, there are so many pattern materials you can choose, right. So generally wood is used, right, in our lab, right, and one aluminum is also there, right. You can use as a pattern material, right. First we will see the wood, right. So the wood, pine, deodar, teak, shisham, right? These are the wood type, means wood materials can be used for the pattern material, right? So, so when we have to use wood, right? Generally, for the means prototypes or only simple one lot, right? Means 10, 20 pieces are required, right? At the initial stage, then you have to go for the wood material, right, because wood will absorb the water from the means sand, right. So by as a binder we are using water in the means green sand, and it will absorb it, it will swell it, it will deform, right, it will not be in the exact shape. So this wood pattern is used for the prototypes or very small volumes, right? So there are some advantages and disadvantages for the wood material. So it is easily available, economical, easy to convert into required shape and size, right? Easily machinable है, lightweight है, good finish is obtained on the wood surface. It can be preserved for long time, right. Preserved for long times means you have to do coatings, right. Coating is also possible in on wood, right. So what are the disadvantages? More tear and wear, it is affected by atmospheric moisture, right. So that it is having more tear and wear and swelling will be there, right. So next material is POP, plaster of Paris. POP can be casted very easily to any shape. It has very high compressive strength and can be used to make pattern of smaller size with close dimension control. Right? Right? So these are the materials and their advantages and disadvantages. Right? Again, metals are there. You can use cast iron, brass, aluminum, plastic, right. Cast iron, brass and aluminum, these are the metals you can use,
सर
right.
थोड़ा सा zoom
Cast iron is economical, right, it can be casted to any shape and better resistance to abrasion, gives good surface finish. It is very heavy, right, that is its drawback for the cast iron. Yes,
सर थोड़ा सा zoom in कर दीजिए.
zoom कर लिया जाए, एक मिनट में हटा देता हूँ इसको. 1 minute. I think. Right. आ गया शायद, राइट, जूम हो गया है, राइट. कास्ट आयरन है, ब्रास है, एल्यूमिनियम है, बोथ all are having some advantages and disadvantages. So metal जो है आपका high volume requirement है, then you have to go for the metals. Right? So brass is there. It is used for making pattern of small sizes. It has more strength and resistance to corrosion. It is suitable for good surface finish. Right? So wherever corrosion has a problem, then you have to go for the brass compared to your cast iron. Right? So aluminum is having lighter weight compared to your brass and cast iron. Right? It is used for making pattern of bigger sizes since weight is less and it is economical. It is not as strong as other metals. Right? So abrasion का problem, wear out का problem aluminum में रहेगा, right? But it is lesser weight and economical. So next one is the plastic, right? Plastic is preferred for making pattern because of lighter weight, more strength for lesser wear, better surface finish, low shrinkage, right? Low shrinkage means it is not shrinking, right? Plastic, right? Melting is not costlier, right? Plastic used for pattern making are called thermosetting resins. Initially, the mold are made from plaster of Paris, then resin is poured into the mold, right? So again, how to make a pattern, right? Pattern कैसे बनाया जाता है, right? That is again the one of the means process is there, right? You have to make again by the clay and all these things, right? Pouring will be there. Then you have to machine it on the exact size, right? You have to do machining, right? Means somewhat means manually, right? Not on the machines to get the exact shape. After the solidification of resin, we get the plastic pattern. Right? So wax. By wax also, you can get the mold, right? So in this mold is made into two halves and wax is poured in this, right? So wax pattern, wax melting temperature is very less, right? So whenever you pour the molten metal in the cavity, that wax will be melted and it will go outside, right? So that cavity will be created and alongside it is filled, right, with the molten metal. So just you have to remember that wax is a material for the pattern. The cooling of the die is done by circulation of water. After cooling, the die is separated and pattern is taken out. So die is what is that? So die casting is there, right? And die casting, they are using wax as a pattern. So this is all about the pattern material. Right?
सर जो ये पैटर्न होता है हाफ हाफ पीस
No, so there are different types of patterns. It may be a single piece pattern that we'll see, right, in the next slide.
ओके
There are different types of patterns. Right? It may be a single piece, two piece, or multi-piece. Multi-pieces, they are two pieces, loose piece, two pieces, big piece will be there, and you have to add small pattern piece, right, on the bigger pattern. So match plate pattern. So plate will be there, and on that plate you have to add the pattern, gated pattern, sweep pattern, skeleton. So as far as our lab is concerned, we will see only first two, right? Single piece pattern and two piece pattern. Right? So sweep pattern, gated pattern, right? So these details you can get in any book, right? So gated pattern, skeleton pattern, scope and drag pattern, segmental and master pattern. So it is. So I have given only the two types of patterns, right? Single piece pattern and two piece pattern, right? So this is available in the book. this is for your further study, and this is there in the BME Part B section, right? Chapter number 6, right? We'll see again in that BME subject. So, single piece pattern. Such patterns are made in one piece and suitable for only simple casting. Right? Simple shape है, right? Circular, T shape, right? So you can go for the single piece pattern. Molding can be done either in foundry floor or in a molding box. Right? There is no molding box, means the outer shape of your mold, right? It is shown in the drawing, right? Molding box. There is no difficulty in withdrawing the pattern from the mold, as the broadest portion of the pattern is at the top, right? So ये T shape का है आपका, circular T head है, right? And this is all about the pattern. What is there in the left side, right? And right side you have made the mold, right? So you have put some sand, and after that you have to put your pattern, and again you have to put the sand, hammer it, right? After hammering, right, it will be dense one. After that one, you can use a tool, that is a spike rod is there, right? So with that of spike rod, right, hit on your pattern, withdraw your pattern in a vertical, right, direction, right? Complete vertical direction. थोड़ा भी angle मिल गया तो it will break the sand, right? तो उसमें क्या करते हैं, right? शेकिंग किया जाता है, right? शेकिंग करके फिर थोड़ा सा पैटर्न निकाला जाता है. So you have to add some shaking allowance on the pattern, right? Clear है? Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Now we'll see two-piece pattern, right? So what is in two-piece pattern, right? So pattern is made in two pieces, right? So piece 1 and piece 2, right? So they are generally made for the complicated shape, right? So if you put this eye section, right, in the sand, and you want to, right, withdraw it from the mold, right, just like this single piece pattern. Suppose you are making T shape, right? Sorry, I shape, right? You have put it and you are withdrawing. So what will happen? That sand will break down. Right? Instead of I section, you will get the, right? What you will get the some cylinder shape, right? Cylinder shape cavity you will take. You will get, right? You will not get the I sections because sand will break down, right? That mold will break down. So how to solve this problem, right? You have to convert it into, right, two piece, one piece and the second piece, right? And how to align that one, right? Another problem arises, how to align them, right? It can be slide one another, it will not be in the perfect shape, right? What will be there? So you have to add the one extruded portion on piece 1 and one hole in the piece 2, right? piece 1 पे क्या है, आपको एक एक्सट्रूडेड पोर्शन देना चाहिए और नीचे पीस में एक होल देना चाहिए. So that पिन, right, एक्सट्रूडेड जो पोर्शन है पीस 2 में जाके बैठेगा, so that it will have a exact alignment, exact I shape का बन जाएगा वो, right? Now it is showing the H section because it is horizontal. It is kept in a हॉरिजॉन्टल सेक्शन, राइट। तो दोनों का अलाइनमेंट जो है परफेक्ट होने के लिए, राइट, पीस वन आप पीस टू पे एक्सट्रूडेड पोर्शन, उसको बोलते हैं डॉवेल पिन, राइट, याद रखना डॉवेल पिन, राइट। इट कैन बी आस्क्ड इन योर वाइवा, राइट। So how to align the two pieces in two-piece pattern, right? So dowel pin is provided in one of the part and hole is provided in another part, right? To have a better alignment. So it is indicated in this portion, right? The two pattern holes are provided with locating dowels so that one half may sit on another half in the exact position required with no mismatch. Right? So mismatching is one of the defect in casting. Right? If pattern is get mismatched, so that mismatch will be in the casting also. So we have to take care for the better alignment of the your pattern. Right. Also, two tapped holes are provided on the flat mating surface of each part. Right. These tapped holes are used to provide grip to lift the pattern hole from the sand without damaging the mold impression. Right. The line along which the pattern is divided into half is called parting line. Right. So the parting line will be the line which separate one piece to another piece of your pattern. That is your parting line, and is usually follow the broad-based cross section of the casting. Right? तो वो मार्क आपको कास्टिंग में भी मिलेगा. If you are having the parting line in the pattern, that you will get in the casting also. Right? Deciding where the parting line should be is a matter of considerable skill and experience. Some of the more complicated casting may require pattern to split in 3 or even more pieces. So it depends on the complexity of the part, right? And again, it is a it depends on your skills and experience where you have to take the parting line. Right? So you can take, right? You can take in a half section upper and half section lower, right? Again, it will be have a problem, right? If you instead of H, right, in a two-piece pattern, right? If you take the you can split vertical T and inverted T as a sections, but again it is having the problem to withdraw the right pattern. So it has to be converted into S section, right? And above half and lower half will be there, right? So this portion we will see in the process how to make the mold, right? So there may be questions how to put this, how to align this, how to have a cavity in the two portions, how to join it, right? So that we will see in the later section, right? So in the process we will see that one. Right. So pattern allowances. So pattern is nothing but the replica of your past product, right? But there should be some allowances, right? So it has to be remembered. 5 allowances are there, right? Shrinkage allowance, right? Whenever you melt the metal, right, you can see that their size increases, right? And if you allow to solidify, it will get contracts, right? So जब भी मेटल हीट करते हैं उसका वॉल्यूम बढ़ जाता है, और हीट नहीं है तो फिर कुक सॉलिडिफाई किया तो उसका वॉल्यूम श्रिंक हो जाता है, right? So concerning with that differences, you have to add the shrinkage allowance on the pattern, right? So it is explained in the sense generally 1%. It depends on the material, right? Again, right? So so in wood case it is higher than higher, and in aluminum case it is lower than lower, right? It depends again on the metal to metal, right? So is it clear, shrinkage allowance? Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Next one is a machining allowance. Right? Machining means after the casting you have to machine it, right? Because the surface finish of the cast product is not good. Why not good? Because it is in contact with the sand, right? It is not. It is contact with the sand. So whatever may be the finishing of your mold, that is replicated on your pattern, right? So it is not good surface finish. So you have to machine it. So that allowances is added on the pattern, right? So generally 1.5 to 2.5 mm material is added on the pattern, right? That is your machining allowance. Third one is the draft allowance, right? Draft means is a taper allowance, right? Taper दिया जाता है, right? If you see the pattern what you have shown, right, in the single piece pattern, right? So it is very difficult, right? If you have a perfect right angle, right, in a T shape, right, bottom portion है exact T है, so it is not possible to withdraw any metal in a 100% means 90 angle with your bottom surface, right? So what they are doing for the easy to withdraw the pattern, they are providing some taper on the pattern. टेपर प्रोवाइड किया जाता है, राइट? तो वो इजीली विथड्रॉ हो जाएगा. That is its taper allowance. So it may be a 2 to 3 degrees, right, for the pattern. Shake allowance, right? So again to withdraw the pattern from the mold, right? So you have to do some shaking, right? For the shaking, right? So that allowance is provided on the pattern. So it should be lesser than the pattern, right? So देखो ये तीन तो ऐड किया जाता है, right? You have to add shrinkage allowance, machining allowance, draft allowance. Shaking allowance is right, smaller than the pattern. You have to make the smaller pattern, right? So shake allowance is minimized on the pattern, right? Shaking allowance जो है, right? So it is written there. It means pattern is made little smaller than the required size of the part, right? Shaking allowance add minimize करना. Again distortion allowance, right? So distortion allowance distort हो जाता है, right? जैसे swelling है, right? पैटर्न में स्वेलिंग आ रही है, दूसरे जो भी प्रॉब्लम्स है डिस्टॉर्ट हो रहा है, सो यू हैव टू हैव दैट अलाउंस ऑन द पैटर्न. So there are certain casting in which cooling of the metal is not uniform throughout the casting due to very complicated shape, right? So uniform cooling should be there, right? If it is not uniform, again the problem arises, right? That is called hot shortness or cold shortness, right? That are the defects in the castings. So to avoid that one, you have to add distortion allowances to the pattern, right? To minimize the effect of distortion in opposite direction given in the pattern, right? So these are the five allowances you have to add on the pattern, right? So बोर तो नहीं हो रहा है?
No, sir.
No.
No, sir.
No, sir.
थोड़ा सा
No,
सर.
sir.
सर एक बार वीडियो दिखा देते हैं.
Yes, sir.
So I will show you video at night, right? After the completion of this time. Mm, it is, I think 30 slides are there, right? It is lengthier one. So there are different types of sand. Green sand, right? This is important as far as your lab is concerned, right? So why it is called green sand? Because it contains moisture, right? It is having moisture, that's why we are calling it the green sand. So what it consists? It is also known as a temper sand, but green sand consists of generally sand and bentonite clay, right? Up to 3 to 7 percentage, right? For the bonding or adhesion between the sands, right? So bonding bentonite is a bonding agent, right? So again water is added, right? Up to 3 to 6%, right? By weight of the sand and necessary to activate the bonding action of the clay, right? So ग्रीन सैंड कंसिडर्ड क्या क्या है? सैंड है, आपका बेंटोनाइट क्ले है, राइट, और वाटर है, राइट. तो इसमें मॉइस्चर आ जाता है, दैट्स व्हाई इट इज कॉल्ड अ ग्रीन सैंड. It's a clear definition. It is required, right? It is important as far as your lab is concerned. Right? Other sands are there, right? Facing sand, parting sand, right? So in parting sand is used, right? If you use a means two-piece pattern or three-piece, multi-piece pattern. Right? Facing sand, it is applied on the face. Dry sand, right? It is don't have the moisture, right? That is your called dry sand, right? Baking sand, floor sand, black sand, right? So these terms are used to denote the used sand which is left on the floor, right? So जो भी आपका floor पर पड़ जाती है तो that is floor sand. They are again using that one, right? Right? After the casting has been removed from the mold, before reusing, it is riddled to remove foreign materials, right? So with use of riddle, there may be a foreign material, so you have to remove that one. Right? So used for the filling the bulk of the molding flask after facing sand has been rammed around the pattern.
Sir, 1 second previous slide दिखा दो please.
Yes.
Sir, 1 second previous slide दिखा दो please.
Previous slide. Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. So this PPT I will give to you, right, for the writing purpose. So core sand, right? What is core? Right?
Sir,
If
this
you
we
want-
sir,
Yes.
sir, this will be this we will be going to perform in the lab when physical classes will open.
If it is open, then you can perform it. Right.
Okay.
Up to now, the order has not came. Right. Whether you have to go for the physically or not physically, but only virtually, I have to tell you that all these things.
Okay, sir.
Right. Up to now, order not came. Right. Like core sand, right? So core is made to make the holes in the your existing uh, casting, right? I will show you that what is meant by core, right? Mm. If you see, right here, right? So this is your final is your casting product. Cast product is there, right? And on the right side you can see there is one hole, right, on that part, right? That hole is created by using the core, right? You can see in the left side of your casting, right, that core is made and that is put it on your, right, mold cavity, right? इसको थोड़ा देख लो. So this is the core, and that core sand is different from your mold sand, right? Oil sand is there. Silica sand having oil as binder is known as oil sand. Molasses sand. Molasses is added, right, in the sand as a binder, right? What are the molasses? Sugar cane. Sugar cane. Just uh, if you remove the sugar from the sugar cane, right, or liquid from the sugar cane, whatever remains in the sugarcane, that is called a molasses, right? So it is used in making molds of small castings having intricate shapes and thin section, and also used for the core sand, right? So what is mold sand consist of? Is a silica, clay, bentonite, coal dust, moisture, right? This is the constituent of your molding sand, right? Again, some additives will be there, banding will be there, water, silica sand, right? And these are the principal constituent of your molding sand. So again, there will be the properties of the sands, right? Permeability, right? This is important, right? Property of the sand. Permeability means whenever you pour the molten metal and it is in contact with the moisture, right? So there are chances that the gases will get generated, right? So that gases should remove from the mold, right? So to have a passage, right? So the property permeability, right, is required in the sand, right? right? तो permeability क्या है कि उसको पैसेज देना कि ये गैसेस बाहर आ जाए मोल्ड से, राइट? Cohesiveness. Hello. Cohesiveness. What? It is having some strength, right? Cohesive forces है उसमें, binding होनी चाहिए अच्छे से, right? And green strength. Green strength means moisture should be there, and they are having some bonding agent between the sand particles. Depending on the size and shape of the sand grains, also upon the binding material and moisture content present in the clay. Right? Clay is a natural binder. Chemical binders are also there. Bentonite are sometimes added in a clay. That content in natural sand is not enough. Core sand has oil as a main binding material, right? Core gets surrounded by molten metal which cause the oil to vaporize. Right? So core कैसे बनाया जाता है ये बताया गया है, right? So oil, they are using oil basically, right? This increases collapsibility of sand and makes it easy to remove the sand from the holes in the casting, right? So जो mold है आपका, right, casting होने के बाद break किया जाता है, right? So उसमें collapsibility भी चाहिए, right? तो कितनी strength चाहिए, कितनी collapsibility चाहिए, again it's the calculation part. So binders are there, right? And additives, water, right? This is there, right? That I will take, and after this one, I will show you the video. Then we will see the hand tool. The purpose of adding a binder to the molding sand is to impart strength and cohesiveness to enable it to retain its shape after the mold has been rammed and pattern withdrawn. Right? तो बॉन्डिंग एज बाइंडर क्या है, बाइंड कोहेसिवनेस बढ़ा देता है, बॉन्डिंग क्रिएट कर देता है. So there are two types of binders, organic and inorganic. Inorganic binders, molasses, linseed oil, right? Cereal binders are there. Inorganic binders are there. Bentonite, limonite, and fire clay are the inorganic binders. Right? So additives will be there. Right? So additives basically is to increase the property of the molding sand. The main right, binding is binding, but what the use of additives, right? So collapsibility chahiye, so you have to add something, right? And again some finishing is required, then you have to add something, right? So coal dust, right? Silius, silica, floor, wood floor, right? Wood floor, it is floor, something like that. Fuel, oil, and molasses, right? So these additives are there. So only you remember the additives, right? What is the use of particular coal dust and wood floor, right? Again is the we will see in the theory, right? Water, right? The clay content added to the foundation will not give the required strength and bond until you add the right water, right? तो भले वो बाइंडर ऐड किया जाए ये किया जाए तब तक उसमें स्ट्रेंथ नहीं आती जब तक आप वाटर ऐड नहीं करते हैं. So again, how much water you have to add, right? Again, it depends on the your casting, right? Generally 7% or 10%, up to 10% you can add, right? So water content present in the sand mass is partly mixed form called the pore water and partly in the free state called the free water. Part of the water filling into the pores of the clays form a microfilm which is responsible for imparting the desired strength to the sand. Right? So how we are getting the highest strength, right? With the help of this water, right? You can see, right? And more water is present in the clay, it remains as a fluid and it is held between the clay particles separating them, right? So what is the consequences if you add more water, less water, right? You should know, right? More water है तो fluidity बढ़ जाएगी, you cannot have a strength. If it is lesser water, what is happening? You will not get the proper strength, right? So cohesive forces will be different with respect to your water content. This excess amount of water, free water, acts as a lubricant, helps in improving the moldability. Right? Moldability means easy to mold, and plasticity of the molding sand. Plasticity means it is not having the deformation. Right? At the same time, it reduces the strength of the mold. So water content के ऊपर है, right? अगर ज्यादा है तो भी स्ट्रेंथ डिक्रीज हो जाती है, कम है तो भी स्ट्रेंथ डिक्रीज होती है. You should have a some percentage, right? So this is all about the sand. Right? Now I will show you a video. So as far as theory is concerned, it is a lengthier one, right? For the casting. Oh, what is that? Otherwise, I have one. I think I will stop sharing. Right. I will open that video, right? And then I will show. Yes.
आप ये पीपीटी शेयर कर देंगे हमारे साथ?
हाँ हाँ बिल्कुल बिल्कुल बिल्कुल
Okay,
मुझे शेयर
thank you,
कर
sir.
रहे हैं. Right.
सर इसे फाइल में भी लिखना है?
हाँ फाइल में भी लिखना है. Right.
मतलब क्या क्या मतलब एक बार आप एक्सप्लेन कर देंगे?
हाँ मैं बता दूंगा, जैसे ये खत्म हो जाएगा ना तभी बता दूंगा मैं आपको. राइट. आई एम ट्राइंग टू ओपनिंग दैट.
सर एक डेमो फाइल दे देना, उसी में से देख लेंगे.
Is there? We'll copy and paste that link. Not opening. Now it's opening, right? I am. सर वीडियो का लिंक शेयर कर दो यूट्यूब
हाँ,
का हम
वीडियो को लिंक नहीं, मैं शो ही कर रहा हूँ, राइट। आई एम शोइंग यू। एक मिनट, मैं वो शेयर भी कर देता हूँ, लिंक शेयर कर देता हूँ, राइट। आई विल पुट इन द राइट। So in message, I am putting that link, right. Right. So I think you got the link, right? This is about the induction furnace and then melting and how to avoid the energies and all these things, right. It's of energy studies, right. Bureau of Energy Studies, BEE, right. So I am showing you, right, that video. So they are pouring the
Sir, is there no audio in this video?
ऑडियो आ नहीं रही है।
ऑडियो चल रहा है, ऑडियो नहीं आ रहा है।
नहीं सर।
नो
No,
सर।
sir.
ओके, ऑडियो is showing on my end. So
नहीं सर, मेरे में आ रही है वीडियो ऑडियो।
audio is showing from my end, right. Um, right. If it is if voice is not coming, right, so I have given the link, right, given the link in the message, right, in the message, right. From that you can open it, right?
Okay, sir.
Create a parallel business center of scrap processing. Together, this can create
So what you have studied, right, from this, right, what you have studied from this video. Audible? Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So finally, right, in the casting we want specific chemistry, right? Chemistry means composition, right? And to have that composition we have to add different materials, right, in the form of scrap. So we take the scrap and we have to add in the furnace, right? So that furnace, there are two types of scraps: unprocessed and processed, right? So in unprocessed scraps, there may be some foreign material and all these things, right? So so that energy requirement is higher for the unprocessed scrap. So again, you have to use processed scrap, right? But for the small industries, it is not economical because due to the heavy capital cost, right? So you can set up the processing of your scrap, right? You take from that and process the scrap. One thing, right? Another thing what we have learned, right? How to lift that material, right, scrap material, by using the magnetic power, right, to avoid the means some consequences, right, disaster, right, any accident. So you have to use, whenever possible, magnetism is used to shift the raw material to the furnace. So again there will be molding line, right? So you have to add the molten metal. So care to be taken that there should not be more time from the your furnace to the pouring area, right? You have to avoid that distance, right? So that power whatever you have used, right, for the melting, right, that will not be wasted one, right? If it will be more distance, that molten metal will be get cooled and it will stick to your furnace or maybe your crucible which are used for the carrying out that molten metal, right? This is all these things, right, you have to learn, right, about the pouring and the energy, how to make it is an energy efficient one, right? Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Right, sir.
Okay. So I am providing another link is there, right? About the induction furnace. We have seen that about the energy, how to save the energies, right? So what is the induction furnace, right? I will give that link and you can see, right, in your home, right? It is there, right? Again, I will, otherwise I will put in the message. Right, otherwise it is in the your PPT, you can show, you can see it, right? So now I will start my, right, PPT again. Otherwise it is not complete. Pattern analysis are seen, right? Hand tools used in a laundry shop, right? Right, riddle is there, shovel is there, rammer, hand rammer, pin rammer, right? Load ram, pneumatic rammer, screw pins, the riser pin will be there, right? Strike of bars, mallets, right? So I will show you one by one, right? Another is there, another, right? Stop sharing. I will open that one, right? And I will show you one by one. On road tools. Right, so I open it again, I will share it, right? Share screen, not sharing, start now, right? So this is the hand riddle, right? So you have to make the figure, right? Name it and then figure, you have to draw the figure, right, in the your practical file, right? Audible no?
Yes.
So hand riddle is there, right? I will share this one also, right?
डिस्क्रिप्शन नहीं लिखना ना हैंड रिडल का.
हैंड रिडल का डिस्क्रिप्शन लिखने की जरूरत नहीं है, यू जस्ट ड्रॉ द फिगर ओनली.
सर फिगर ब्लैंक साइड में बनानी है.
ओके सर.
हाँ, ब्लैंक, आपका लेफ्ट साइड ब्लैंक रहेगा, राइट? और राइट साइड में आपके लाइंस रहते हैं फाइल्स में, राइट? तो जो ब्लैंक साइड है, राइट, यू ड्रॉ दैट फिगर्स.
सर
So soil is there, right? Rammers, right? So different types of rammers are there. So according to the area, you have to ram it. Right? Types of hand rammer, pin rammer, floor rammer is there. If it is the see, if it is figure is not there, you just you
write down the name only, right? Screw pin is there, right? It's the taper one, right? To create that funnel shape, right? Funnel shape आपको create करना है, right? So in that area, from this area only, this cavity only, you have to pour the molten metal. स्ट्राइक ऑफ बार तो फ्लैट सैंड फ्लैट करनी है तो स्ट्राइक बार यूज किया जाता है, राइट? So while showing the videos in the next class, right, you will get to know the all use of this tools. Mallet is there, right? So what is the difference between mallet and hammer, right? So mallet is a softer one, generally made from the plastics, right? Or wood also, right? Mallet is softer than the hammer. So that you have to know, right? A draw spike is there, right? To withdraw the pattern from the just mold, right? You have to use the draw spike, right? Hit it on the pattern and remove it. So vent rod is there, right? Venting means to escape the gases from the molten metal, right? Permeability is there, sand permeability property is there, right? Again, that is not enough to withdraw the gases from the molten metal, right? That cavity. So you have to do venting operation. So vent rod is used for that one. Okay. So letters are there, right? Some, if you want to some letter printed on the your casting. So printed this prints are there, lifters are that also you can put it on the this one lifters. So lifters, so to lift that cavity or maybe your casting, so lifters are being used in the right foundry. Lifters figures are there, right? So small lifters, big lifters, right? So again this lifters छोटा जो सैंड है, सैंड कहीं पे गिर गई है मोल्ड में, right? You want to lift it, so by hand you cannot lift it, right, easily, or it may be damaged. So these are small lifters, and again the lifters may be in the form of the cranes also, right, for the big castings. Trowels are there, right? You already know how to use it, right? For the, I think you are mechanical, na? Right? Trowels generally used for to putting to put some sand particles in the mold, right? Slicks are there, right? Right? Smoothers, right? So in specific area you want smoothness, so these are the smoothers you can use to have a better surface finish, right? Swabs are there, right, to apply the means your water or liquid metal also, right? So if you you want it, if it is having some critical area, right, and water content is less in the that mold, or maybe your molten metal is less in that area, right, you want to add manually, so swab is used for that one. Spirit level, right? Spirit level is one of the instrument, right? It is used to measure the flatness of the mold, right? Spirit level में क्या होता है, एक bubble होता है, right? Water is there, one bubble is there. If that bubble is at the center, right, you can say that this is a flat portion. Otherwise, if it is tilted one, it is not at the center, right? Gate cutter is there. So gate is nothing but the your passage for the molten metal, right? To create that passage, right, that gate cutter is used. Daggers are there, bellows are there, right? So it is written there, their operations and all these things, right? So bellows, what is the use of bellow, right? If you want cleaning of your mold, right? If you want to clean your mold, that bellows are used,
So, it is used to blow or pump air when operated, right? Compress air use किया जाता है for the cleaning of your mold. Plans, cutters, and wedges are there, right? So again, that is kind of molding sand. It is not required for you, right? Already you have studied it. I will show this also, right? I will share this one also, right? So you have to draw only figure and name it, right? Clear, eh?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Now I will go to the PPTs. PPT is lengthier one. Right. So hand tools, whatever may be.
सर
Yes.
सर हमें पीपीटी बनानी है या फिर हमें हैंड रिटन फाइल बनानी है?
Handwritten file.
और सर मतलब आप हमें कोई
I
डेमो फाइल
will
देंगे या
share
फिर
these PPTs. I will share these PPTs. From that PPT, you write it, draw the your all tools and all these things, and you have to submit it in the classroom.
ओके
और सर इस फाइल में मतलब पीपीटी में से क्या क्या लिखना है?
हाँ वो मैं बताता हूँ अभी ये करना है. It is green sand molding, right? So it is there already. What is green sand and what is the percentage? Already discussed it, right? So basically, if you are using the two-piece pattern, right? So you have to use two boxes, right? Two boxes are there, right? You have to see the heights, right? Your casting product according to you choose your molding flux, right? That boxes is called molding flux. That is of your rectangular frames are there, and it is open on the both ends, right? So if you see the means side, right? There is one bar is there, right? For the alignment, right? एग्जैक्ट एक के ऊपर एक बैठे हैं इसलिए उसको अलाइनमेंट के लिए लास्ट में पोर्शन दिया हुआ है, राइट? इन दैट होल यू हैव टू पुट द रॉड, राइट? सो यू हैव इट इज ऑन बोथ साइड्स, राइट? So upper portion is called your coke and bottom portion is called drag. Right? Upper box is called coke and bottom side is called drag. Right? So riddle is used, right, to get these sands without your foreign materials, right? And that sand will be put in the box. So core already we have studied it, right? So if you want to holes, recesses, undercuts, right, you have to use cores, and core is having some core is nothing but it is also made from the sand, right? Generally refractory sand is used. It should have a higher strength compared to your mold, right? So hardening process is also there for the core and molding sand, right? So so during mold making, so this is your mold, right? This is your mold, right? जो कैविटी है, अपर बॉक्स आपका कोप हो गया, नीचे वाला ड्रैग हो गया, right? So screw pin is used, right? Riser pin is used for the to make the screw and riser, right? So gating system is nothing but the passage to have a molten metal, right? Passage चाहिए, that passage is nothing but your gating system, right? So gating system is a network of channel used to deliver the molten metal from outside the mold into the cavity, mold cavity, right?
The various components of the gating system are pouring cups, screws, runners, and gates. Riser or feeder head is small cavity attached to the cavity, and the liquid metal of the riser serves to compensate the shrinkage in casting during solidification. Right? It is important point for the riser. Right? Riser क्या है? यहाँ पे देख सकते हैं आप riser. Right? तो हम क्या कर रहे हैं बेसिकली, ये है आपका मोल्ड क्रिएट हो गया. पोरिंग जो कप है वहां पे आप मोल्टन मेटल पोर करोगे. इट इज follow the path from the sprue to the gating system, riser, and then it will fill the cavity. Right? It will fill the cavities. Right? So upper flask is called your cope and bottom is called drag. Right? So from the pattern you are making the cavity. From the core you will make the hole in the cast product. Right? So finally you will get the casting product. Right? If you see the same thing, right, it is the same thing, right, it is shown here, right, but the see the riser position, right, riser here in this diagram, it is blind one and it is upper one, right. So what is the function of this riser, right? From the riser, from this figure, right, from the riser you can see whether the cavity is filled or not. One thing, right, whether cavity is filled or not you can see from the riser. Another thing, that shrinkage is happening, right, shrinkage is happening when you allowed to solidify. So extra material is required, right, extra material is required to compensate that one. That compensation will take from the riser portion. आपने पोर किया मोल्टन मेटल, राइट, सॉलिडिफाई करने के लिए रख दिया, तो सॉलिडिफाई करते समय उसका वॉल्यूम श्रिंक हो रहा है, राइट. सो यू इट रिक्वायर मोल्ड more molten metal, so it will take from the riser. So there are two functions of riser. One primary function is whether it is filled or not you can see from the riser. Another function is shrinkages allowance, right. So you can create the riser, right, in this fashion also, right. So here you can see pouring basin. If you pour the direct in the screw, what is happening, the erosion will be happening at the base area, right. So you can use a pouring basin, then screw, right, then you are going from the well, right. So some foreign heavy materials will be, impurities will be captured in the base, right. So again it will flow some, it is having again some impurity will be there, that is maybe lighter impurities or heavy impurities. Again it will be captured in skin bob, right. Again there will be choke area, right. Choking will be there to have a particular velocities, right. So it will fill the mold cavity, right, and then it will come out from the riser. If it come out on the riser, stop the pouring, right. So you can see the parting line, right. Parting line will be on the two halves of the your pattern as well as in the mold cavity.
Sir?
Yes.
Sir, what about the air bubbles trapped in the mold?
That we should do venting operation on the upper side of the mold, right. Venting operation is should do, right. And so that is there, right. It is not shown in the diagram, right. So you have to add, right, you have to show some venting lines on the mold cavity, right, mold cavity, right. One is permeability should be there in the sand, another venting operation is there, right. I will show, right, in the video, right. But you, what you do, you draw any figure from these three diagrams, right. No need to draw all three diagrams, you draw this final diagram, right. Or you draw final diagram, right, and in the mold, on the mold cavities, right, on upper portion you should indicate the lines of venting, right. I will show in the next class video, right, how to do a venting operation, right. Next is melting and pouring of metal and in the mold. So you can do parallelly these operations, right? Mold preparation and melting, right? You can do parallelly. Right? So molten process must be capable of providing molten metal not only at the proper temperature but also in the desired quantity with an acceptable quantity and within a reasonable cost. Right? So in order to transfer the metal from the furnace in the mold, some types of pouring devices or ladle must be used. The primary concentration are to maintain the metal at a proper temperature for pouring and to ensure that only quality metal will be get into the mold. Right? So you have to avoid the impurities, right, at each stages. Right, in the pouring, melting also some impurities you have to remove it, right. So there are some operations are there, right. The slag will be removed from the molten metal, right, manually or it will be automatic, right. So nowadays, right, all molds are made from the automatic way, right. So one machine is there, squeezing and jolting machine, right, pattern for pattern making, right. So that is there in our shop also, right. The operations involved in melting of metal in oil fired furnace or induction furnace and pouring of liquid metal into the mold cavity, right. So you have to heat it and pour it in the mold cavity. So finally, removal and finishing of casting. After complete solidification, the castings are removed from the mold. Most casting requires some cleaning and finishing operations such as removal of cores, and removal of gates and risers, removal of fins and flash, right? Cleaning of surface, etc. Right? So the dots should be removed. Right? So after that one casting. So what is happening? Right? I have shown you the piston, right? In the last class, I have shown you the piston cavities, cast product and finished product, right? Right. So after the all machinings and remove that the risers, runners, if you see that the mold cavity is only your final product, right? All other things are wastages. Right? You remove that one. You have to finish that mold cavity product, and you will get the final product. Right?
सर वो दोबारा मेल्ट होके दोबारा यूज नहीं हो सकता?
Yes.
वो दोबारा मेल्ट होके जो वेस्ट हुआ है वो दोबारा यूज नहीं हो सकता?
हाँ, यूज करते हैं ना, एज ए स्क्रैप दे आर यूजिंग.
जी भाई.
गेट रजर राइनर का जो भी कटेड पार्ट है, अगेन दे आर पुटिंग इन द फर्नेस.
ओके सर.
So in the basic, this is the process, right? This is as per the your right, as per the standard practice, right? That is used for your making of the mold and your cast product. Right? So हेलो हेलो। हाँ, ये आपका ये है ये ड्राइंग है, राइट? फर्स्ट यू विल गेट द ड्राइंग, right? This is of elbow, right? So you have the patterns, you are making the code, right? You are putting in the class, that is your cope and drag, and finally you are getting the product, right? And after finishing you will get the final product, right? क्लास चल रहा है। हेलो हेलो, आवाज आ रही है?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes, sir.
So in the next class we will see the step-by-step process, right, of mold making and core making, right? So after that we will get the product, right? These steps you have to write, right? So what you have to write, I will show you. So objective in introduction, casting process, you write down casting process. So first slide, right? This figure you have to draw, right? Induction furnace, just only write down the induction furnace, no need to draw any drawings and all these things. Pattern, right? So you write down only the pattern materials, right? No need to draw, write down advantages, disadvantages, right? So you should know for the Viva purpose, but as far as this is concerned, right? You just write down the pattern materials. Right? So type of patterns, you write that types of patterns, right? And you draw this first, sorry, single piece and two piece pattern, right? So you have to draw allowances, right? Allowances for pattern allowances, what you can draw pattern allowances, you will get the figures, right? You will get the figures in the book. You draw that figures or you can write it, right? There are two choices, you draw figures or draw write down this item, right? I will both are okay, right? If you draw figures, that will be some easier one for you. Sand and properties, you what you have to do, so you only put the green sand, its explanation, and other sands you just name it, right? Dry sand, facing sand, and all these things. But you should know what is that one for the Viva purpose, right? So this is all about your sands, right? Green sand, no, the green sand. Another thing you have to write the constituent of the green sand, right? Green sand में क्या क्या होता है, क्या binder होता है, क्या water content है, right? You write down all these things, right? So hand tools, right? Only name it, draw the figure, right? So sand molding, it is not required, right? Course, you course you write it, right? What is there in content? So what I will do, right? I will give the slide numbers, right? Slide numbers you have to write that one, right? That is
सर आप एक डेमो फाइल शेयर कर दीजिए.
This third figure you draw, right? Only third figure. Hello? Yes?
सर आप एक डेमो फाइल शेयर कर दीजिए.
हाँ ठीक है, मैं स्लाइड्स का नंबर वगैरह, हाँ मैं इंफॉर्मेशन पूरा दे दूंगा क्या लिखना है, that will be easier one for you, otherwise you will get confused, right? Right. तो इसमें कुछ डाउट है तो पूछो, राइट? इन नेक्स्ट क्लास, राइट, आई विल गो थ्रू दैट प्रोसेस, राइट, and I will show you the induction furnace, right, and that process of the mold making, right? Video will be shared to you, right? So after that one, you have any doubts, right, you can ask me, right? Another one is casting defect, right? Casting defect we will discuss after the video, right? So I am closing this one. राइट, सो इधर कुछ समझ में आया क्या, ज्यादा हो गया? राइट, समझ में आ रहे हैं ना?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
चल
sir.
रहा
सर
क्योंकि is a lengthier one as far as you are from mechanical and electrical, I think, right? So it is important to you, right? As far as your subjects are concerned, branch is concerned, right? So for the electrical, if you see the casings of motors, right? Electrical students are there in this batch.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Uh,
sir.
Yes, sir.
if you see the applications of this
Yes, sir.
casting process, right? So any pumps, right? Even your water pump is there in your homes, right? Water motor is there, right? That casing is made from the casting process, right? So fins are there, right? Fins purpose is for the cooling of that motors, right? तो जो मोटर के ऊपर जो लाइंस रहते हैं एक्सट्रूडेड पोर्शन, दैट इज यूज्ड फॉर द कूलिंग, ओवर हीटिंग हो गई तो हीट एरिया ज्यादा कवर हो गया, एरिया ज्यादा कवर ज्यादा हो गया, राइट, फिन्स ऐड करने से तो वो हीट डिसिपेट ज्यादा कर सकते हैं, राइट? दैट इज द पर्पज ऑफ द दैट फिन्स ऑन द मोटर, राइट? सो दैट केसिंग इज मेड फ्रॉम द कास्टिंग प्रोसेस, right? So other parts are also there, right? But if you see in the transmission also, so many parts are from the castings, right? Your fuses, right? फ्यूज जो होता है उसके ऊपर जो लगा रहता है, दैट मे बी द प्रोसेस फॉर द योर कास्टिंग आल्सो, राइट? So many applications are there, all right? So you can go through that one, right? So any doubt है तो पूछो, नहीं तो मैं अटेंडेंस ले लेता हूँ.
सर अटेंडेंस ले लीजिए.
अरे सबने जो लॉगिन किया हुआ है नाम से किया हुआ है, इट इज वेरी डिफिकल्ट टू राइट टेक द अटेंडेंस, राइट?
सर
सर
मैं
आप रोल
आपको
Borough.
नंबर
एब्सेंटीज
बुला लो.
सीआर ले
सर
लेगा,
मैं आपको
सीआर.
एब्सेंटीज भेज दूंगा सर, रोल नंबर.
अरे सीआर पिछले पिछले क्लास में उसने जो लिस्ट आती है वही भेज दिया, राइट?
सर नहीं, पिछला क्लास तो सर हम लोगों का क्या कहते हैं, साउंड इशू की वजह से कैंसिल हो गया था, तो सर मैं आपने से बात हो गई थी सर कि
हाँ
अटेंडेंस दे दीजिए
तो
सर.
मुझे क्या करो, एब्सेंटीज जो है, राइट,
उनके रोल नंबर भेज देता हूँ सर मैं.
एब्सेंटीज जो है वो मुझे कर देना. कितने स्टूडेंट्स है अभी? ये है 50 students are there, so 20 students are absent, right? So 20 students absent is required for me, right? Roll numbers of 20 students, right? तो मुझे दे देना, right? It is very difficult, right? Everybody is logging through the name only. 1 2 3 students are there with the roll number, others are from the name only, right? ठीक है, सौरभ सौरभ मुझे ये करके दे देना, राइट?
यस
कब
सर, मैं
दोगे?
आपको आज शाम से पहले भेज दूंगा सर. सेकेंड क्लास के बाद आपकी भेज दूंगा सर मैं आपको. हेलो.
हाँ भेज देना। राइट, तो
हाँ
अभी
सर।
मैं ये क्लास क्लोज कर लेता हूँ। राइट,
यस सर।
कुछ डाउट्स है तो पूछ सकते हो, अदरवाइज यू कैन लीव इट।
सर
थैंक यू सर।
सर एक बार टू पीस पैटर्न का बताना।
हो
सर आर यू लिसनिंग?
ब्लॉक कर दूंगा
सर हेलो सर।
अरे सर लेफ्ट होगा।
ठीक है भाई।
भाई तुम में से किसी ने फीस भरी क्या?
भाई वो फेलियर दिखा रहा है मेरा तो।
भाई मेरा तो हो गया।
वहां पे पेड आ गया तुम्हारा जो
हाँ
इन्होंने वो।
मेरा आ गया।
हाँ,
आ गया।
एक
उसी
बार
लिंक से फीस भरनी है ना जिससे मैसेज आया है। हाँ।
अरे यार मैंने फीस पे कर दी, बैंक से भी कर दी, पर वो वहां अपडेट नहीं हो पा रहा।
भाई मैंने तो करवाया था वहां पे जाके।
कहाँ पे?
डीटीयू।
डीटीयू में जाके करवाया था?
हाँ
अपडेट
मेरा।
करा?
हाँ वो बताया था कि मेरा फेल हो गया तो उन्होंने कहा कि यहाँ पे आके करा दो।
ओके।
तो मेरा तो हो गया था।
भाई और किसी को दिक्कत आ रही है? कोई कोई बता दो यार कुछ।
भाई मेरी तो आ रही है, मेरा फेलियर हो
करवाया
गया,
नहीं।
पैसे नहीं कटे, फेलियर हो गया।
यार किसी ने यार केमिस्ट्री की फाइल बना ली।
वो क्या होती है?
मैंने
जब
बना
फाइल
ली।
नहीं बनानी। बना ली।
हाँ सबमिट भी कर दी।
यार भेज दे यार। देखना यार क्या करना है।
कौन से ग्रुप में है तू?
यही अनऑफिशियल वाले में ही हूँ।
अरे ग्रुप
नहीं जी
वन
थ्री में हूँ।
ग्रुप
जी
3
थ्री।
में? मैं
हाँ।
भी उसी में हूँ, मैं भी उसी में हूँ।
हाँ यार भेज दे यार जरा।
मेरे को मैसेज कर दे तू
हाँ कर रहा हूँ।
पर्सनल में।
एक बार तुम अपना वो स्क्रीनशॉट भेज सकते हो, पेड कैसे आ रहा है तुम्हारा फीस का?
भाई पेड मतलब वो आ गया, लेटर आ गया।
किस चीज का लेटर?
क्या कहते हैं कि वो होता नहीं है यार, फी पेमेंट का लेटर कि आपने फीस पे कर दी।
कहाँ, वो कहाँ पे आया, मैसेज पे?
हाँ पेमेंट्स एंड ड्यू पे आ गया। नो
यार
ड्यूज।
एक बार तभी स्क्रीनशॉट लेके भेज सकते हो ग्रुप पे?
भेज देता हूँ यार।
थैंक यू। अभी क्या करना है, ये इसको छोड़ के मतलब कॉल काट दें?
हाँ काट दे। कुछ करना थोड़ी ना है। एक बार कोई बताएगा ये फिजिक्स का सर ने क्या कहा है एब्स्ट्रैक्ट के लिए? भाई कुछ समझ में ही नहीं आया। मैं कह रहा हूँ ये जो फिजिक्स वाले सर ने कुछ बताया है ना कि फाइल वाइल का मतलब ये 30 तारीख तक जमा करना है, क्या है ये? भाई कुछ सुना ही नहीं यार, पता नहीं है यार क्या कह रहे हैं वो। एब्स्ट्रैक्ट वैब्स्ट्रैक्ट बनाना है। कुछ भी एक टॉपिक ले ले बना दे चिप पे। पता नहीं। सब सोच रहे हैं कि बच्चे बहुत एडवांस है, पता नहीं क्या है एब्स्ट्रैक्ट ही क्या है, समझ ही नहीं आ रहा। सही में यार कुछ अजीब सा ही हो रखा है। पता नहीं, आज सर से लग रहा है पूछना पड़ेगा सर। मतलब एक दो क्लास से एब्सेंट चल रहे हैं, एक बार फिर रिपीट कर दो। अगर नहीं करा तो ये फिर पीछे पड़ जाएंगे सारे। हाँ ये अलग है भाई। अभी तो अभी तो यही नहीं समझ रहा करना क्या है। अभी तो फिलहाल एडमिशन ही चल रहे हैं, पता नहीं इन्होंने तो मुझे लग रहा है सेकंड ईयर खत्म करने तक का तो सिलेबस खींच दिया अब तक। अरे यार बहुत दिमाग खराब कर दिया। यार फाइलें कौन बनाता है यार? पता नहीं, स्कूल में तो बना ही नहीं, यहाँ तो जरूर